Hey there folks and welcome to this video. This one here's a general notice where I fire off the week by talking about what's coming up and what's going on in the world of motorsport. I'm going to try and keep it brief. Let's get on with it. And first up, this channel. Abu Dhabi Grand Prix preview out tomorrow. Then on Thursday, pre-season predictions of Formula E. Friday, I'm not too sure yet. I want to try and get some of the IndyCar stuff that I haven't watched yet out of the way. On Saturday, a review for FIA Sao Paulo, and then on Sunday, Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, before the next general notice next Monday. Getting to the point where it's going to be starting to wrap up the season, predictions for you, stuff like that, so you might see some of them coming in pretty soon as well. But hopefully I'll get something out over on CSRE. I've had a couple of ideas, and also we've got new AC Evo content coming up this week, so might talk about some of that as well. Without further ado, though, let's get on to the real world of motorsport and talk about some of the headlines. The first headline I want to talk about today is from F1 and Red Bull. The lineups for the Red Bull and Racing Bulls organizations have been announced for 2026. Yuki Tsunoda, perhaps unsurprisingly, is out. Isaac Hadjar will be promoted to Red Bull Racing alongside Max Verstappen. And then Arvid Lindblad will be promoted to VCARB alongside Liam Lawson. Tsunoda himself is expected to remain with Red Bull as a test and reserve driver, meaning that if, for whatever reason, any of the four drivers are unable to compete at the Grand Prix weekend, Tsunoda will get the call-up for it. Which is something at least. There was every possibility that Tsunoda was going to be completely without any role in the sport. I'm glad that they're keeping him somewhat around, a bit like they did with Alex Albon when they dropped him at the end of 2020. It's the best thing an organisation could do in that case, because Tsunoda, whilst the Grand Prix performances weren't particularly great this year, how much of it was due to the way that Red Bull as an organisation was, how much of it was due to him not being able to make the most out of the car, and how much of it was due to actually him and his ceiling and his potential. The same thing for Albon. Albon's managed to have a wonderful sort of second career now. Remember, he wasn't necessarily going to have a first career. He was meant to do what Oliver Rowland's doing now, Nissan in Formula E. And, yeah, look at where Albon is. He did a year on the sidelines. It was 2021. Then he gets into the Williams seat, and look where he is now. He's comfortable there. He's got a long career. Tsunoda could do that as well. He did historically have that Honda connection. Maybe Alonso leaves the end of next year, or Stroll has enough. All of a sudden, Honda might be like, let's put Yuki in the Aston Martin. We had a connection with him when he was in the Red Bull fold. That could happen. He could also just end up in a program elsewhere. Who knows? Maybe Cadillac after a couple of seasons, or maybe after one season, either Perez or Bottas will be like, okay, I'm done. That could full well happen. Look forward to seeing how Hadjar gets on. It could be good. It could be tricky. It depends what kind of a Red Bull we're going to have next year. Same for Racing Bulls, for Arvid Lindblad. But also Liam Lawson is a good benchmark to have. He has struggled a bit this season compared to his rookie teammate. That's why he's not getting promoted back up. That and also the 2-race stint that he had at the start of the season, which is ridiculous to think that that's enough to judge on someone, but apparently it is. But yeah, this will be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out. Speaking of, the WRC for 2026 will have its world champion back. We already knew that Sebastian Ogier was going to be going back to the WRC for a part-time campaign. It was at least half the season. He's since confirmed to Dirtfish 10 rounds. There are 14 rounds on next year's calendar. He said the 4 that he's not doing line up with when his family will be enjoying school breaks. So most likely that will mean no Finland or Estonia. Probably no Sweden. And I don't know when the Easter break is. I think it's most likely to affect one of Islas Canarias or Croatia, which would be a shame. It'd be nice to see Ogier at either of them. Could affect the Safari, though. But, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what he could do. Can he get a 10th championship from just 10 rounds? If you looked at his form this season, you could say, yeah, definitely. If you got a clean sweep, it'd be 350 points. Meanwhile, second place on everything would be 25 points. Yeah, because they do 17 for second place. So that would be 100 points. which could be made up in 4 rounds. So if he swept everything and Elfyn was second in everything next year, for example, Elfyn could, if he had a flawless performance in the other 4 rallies, get a good bid together. Possible. It's tricky, but it is possible. It's interesting to see this, and to be fair to Toyota, when you've got undoubtedly the greatest at the moment in the WRC wanting to drive for your team and wanting to drive as many rounds as he wants to, and it's more than half the season, you're going to take it, aren't you? Heck, Hyundai were like, hey, Loeb, come in, part-time. If Loeb was around and teams were able to pick him up, even for a couple of rallies, they would. Look at M Sport with the budget they brought in to bring Loeb in for, was it 3 events? 4 events, I think he did in 2022, wasn't it? The Monty that he won. And then I think he also did Portugal, Greece, and did he also do the Safari that year? I feel like he did 4 rounds, each of them in a head-to-head with Ogier. I could be wrong on that one. But it is very real that Ogier could get a 10th world title and get it back-to-back whilst not doing every single event. I mean, he missed 3 this year, and the CER, he got a couple of Super Sunday points, but that was more or less it. He was just relentlessly consistent. The exception of the CER was podiums. Podiums and wins. I will be interested to see how it turns out. That much is for sure. How it will turn out, I don't know yet. Much like with the final thing, the NASCAR lawsuit is now underway. This is the antitrust case between the likes of 2311 and Front Row and NASCAR. This is something that we haven't really seen in the world of motorsport. By all means, we've seen cases go to different courts. But specifically an antitrust case, and the monopoly for the market that's being alleged is Premier Stock Car Racing. Sounds pretty slam dunk, doesn't it? SRX is no more. ARCA's owned by NASCAR. Most other stock car series that exist in the States, especially ones that, do ovals and road courses, that's NASCAR. They also own IMSA. So, by all means, if that meant that there was a team upset with how they were doing IMSA and they were in the LMDH, maybe they'd do a similar thing. Or LMP2s. Because GT3s, you still got the GT World Challenge, still got SRO existing over there. Or GT America. But I'd be wondering if they'll try and go, oh, well, technically, IMPC is with TCRs and those are tin top cars, so they're technically stock cars. So would that make it worse? Would that make it worse for NASCAR since they have the IMSA license and the rights to IMSA? I honestly don't know. What's interesting is it's not something that we've really seen. There were murmurs of it from Andretti if they didn't get their way with what's now the Cadillac bid for F1. And at that time, it appeared that they had the ear of the American presidency. This NASCAR one could end up at the Supreme Court. Current American president has been to multiple NASCAR races. In fact, wasn't it this year's Daytona 500? He was in the Beast on the banking. Well, trying to get on the banking. The Beast can't really do the banking because of how heavy it is, because of how heavy it has to be. I wonder if the free market Republican Party, especially in the era they're currently in, will side with a smaller organisation, the underdog organisation, against people who are pretty big fans of that president. Or even if it gets to the Supreme Court. The interesting thing will be if they say that a charter system and the way that it's run is a problem. What happens to IndyCar? IndyCar's just brought in a charter system. It offered it out to everybody except for Prema because Prema were coming in for this season. And part of that may have had a negative impact on Prema's survival as an organisation. I am interested to see how it turn out though. And on that note, let me know what you think about all the things I've discussed in this video. Thank you, as always, so much for watching and joining. And until next time, bye-bye for now.